Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today what we are going to be going over is potentially competitive states in 2020 for the Democrats to pick up. And we are going to be going state by state and basically explaining my reasonings why I think that they might be competitive and their previous voting history and things like that in order to get a really general understanding on how they might be able to flip in the Democrats' best scenario and maybe overlooked generally by Republicans. So I'm going to be going over 5 states, and coming in at number 5 would be the state of Kansas. So looking at Kansas, it currently has a incumbent Democratic governor, Laura Kelly, who won in 2018 against Chris Kobach. I don't know how to say his name. But he's also running for the current Senate race in 2020, and he is looking like if he becomes the nominee, which he likely will, he might lose, which again will just allow the state to trend even more Democratic. It has one likely Democratic district in Kansas City with a Democrat. And it also has another lean Republican district, which shows on how, about half of the districts in the state are competitive and can likely have 2 Democrats going towards Congress for them. They very narrowly approve of Donald Trump. If you look at the most recent Morning Consult approval ratings, I know this isn't that recent. It's February 2020 due to the recent events. But they only approved him by 4% at the latest. And I believe they didn't even approve of him at one point, or it was extremely close. So just for those general reasons, I would say that Kansas would not be necessarily so safe for Trump. I think it would be less than 15 points coming into 2020, but this state was last won by a Democrat in 1964, which is, a very long time away, and we are in a very polarized country, so it would really take a lot of luck for Biden to pull off a victory, but I mean, anything's possible in this day and age. So coming in at number 4, we have the state of Alaska. So currently, back in 2018, we had a competitive House and a competitive governor's race, both of which the Republicans did win. But generally, this state has been shown to have quite close races and even have the Democrats in play, even during presidential elections. Whether or not that relates to actually flipping the state, that's another story. Currently, though, Biden is polling within single digits in Alaska by less than 10%, which is a lot considering that this state went for Donald Trump in 2016 by almost 20 points. Actually, no, by less than 15 points. So this was actually a likely district back in 2016, and I have a feeling it's probably going to be even closer. However, just like Kansas, it did last go to a Democrat in 1964, and in a very polarized country, it's going to be very hard to convince these Republicans to vote for a Democrat on the presidential level. And Alaska is quite a large state with a very small population and small electoral vote to give out. So generally, I have a feeling that Democrats will not focus on this state, generally due to those factors. So, coming in at number 3, we have the state of Missouri. So, this is a former purple state. In 2018, a Republican actually gained a Senate seat from Claire McCaskill, sorry. And they're also likely going to have a competitive governor's race in 2020 as well. However, in 2008, it barely went to John McCain by less than a percentage point. But, in 2016, it did go to Trump by almost 20 points, which shows a drastic shift towards the Republican Party. But, it was basically a huge landslide election for the Republicans, especially in the Electoral College. So that's coming at no surprise. In the current polling data, Trump is ahead by 6 points. And looking at the polling data, I probably should have shown for Alaska. They kind of approve of him. But in Missouri, they only approve him by 8 points, which shows how even people who do approve of him are likely going to even potentially vote against him. I can see this being easily a likely state in 2020, and potentially even going to the Democrats if, all the cards play in their favor. So, coming in at number 2, we have the state of Mississippi. So, in 2018, there was a close Senate election between Mike Epsy and Sidney Hyde-Smith, which is going to be replicated in the 2020 Senate election as well, as this was a special election. However, in this current climate with heightened black turnout due to the recent protests occurring all across the country, and Mississippi being having a very high black population, it could really help tilt the state in towards Biden's favor in the best case scenario. In current polling, Trump is leading by about 9 points, and looking at current approval ratings, Trump is moderately approved in this state, but anything can still happen. However, the last time Mississippi went to a Democrat was in 1976. So now looking at what I think is potentially the most potentially competitive state in 2020, and the ones that the Democrats and the Republicans are basically overlooking, would be the state of South Carolina. So last time around in 2018, there was a governor's election, and it went to the Republican. However, it only went to the Republican by less than 10 percentage points. In addition to that, they also have 2 Democratic representatives, which had one district, which the Republican challenger, or was basically handpicked by Trump and defeated the representative, which was actually the former governor. However, there also is going to be, just like in Mississippi, heightened black turnout, which again, South Carolina is a southern state and has a very large black population, and with the current protests, they're likely going to turn out in huge numbers, which could definitely help tilt the state in order over towards Biden's column. In current polling, Trump is ahead by about 10 points, and in the tracking Trump, he is approved of by about 12 points, which again is a moderately approved of rating. But again, this state did go to a Democrat last in 1976. But, with resources being poured into Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, and with a potentially black woman running mate, I can easily see the state going towards Joe Biden and being a big upset on the night. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave suggestions for videos in the comments below, and like and subscribe. Thank you.